This evening, I went to see my friend Larry's ballet concert. Not that he was dancing in the concert. It was the 50th anniversary of Federal Academy of Ballet, which was founded by Larry's mother, Mrs. Lee Leland. So anyway, it was a awesome time. Seth, my son, said it was amazing, and I concur, of course. It was fantastic. But why? It might be a function of getting older, of being in your 40s, when, according to Winston Churchill, you tend to become more inclined towards the conservative things. But bear in mind that I grew up in the 80s, the beginning of popping and locking, of the robot, of breakdancing, BB boys and BB girls. That was what I grew up with. So I don't say this as an old fogey. I say this as one who grew up when that culture was new. And what I'm saying is, I'm kind of tired of looking at popping and locking uh, robot dance routines. Kind of tired of unstructured, post-modern, modern dance. So it was refreshing to watch some ballet. Granted, this was not entirely classical ballet. There was some contemporary ballet, some flamenco inspired ballet, and a pirate dance as well, which Seth particularly liked. I guess it appealed to the 10-year-old in him. It did also appeal to the 10-year-old in me. It was quite nice. Anyway, I find myself tiring of the popping and locking, which has so dominated modern dance, contemporary modern dance. It was refreshing to watch some ballet. And I think that it's not uh, it's not that ballet should be thrown out, but that ballet should be updated. Have you heard of hip play? It's a movement where some ballerinas have adopted hip hop influences into their ballet. And it's stuff like that that's awesome. Ballet is hundreds of years old. It's a classical art form. And just like classical music, it's based on certain principles. Um, when it comes to classical music, it's based on mathematical principles. And that is the reason that it's classical and has remained through the centuries. It's based on certain principles. It can get old and it can get tired because it is an old art form. But what needs to be done is not to dispose of the old art form, but to re embody it for our present generation. reinterpreted for our present generation. And it was nice to see that in this ballet as well. There was, for example, a choreography by a famous Russian ballet dancer who came to KL, Kuala Lumpur, to do this choreography for this 50th anniversary concert. And it was awesome. It was not like unstructured postmodern modern dance. It was ballet, but they were dancing in their socks, not point shoes. Or maybe they were wearing socks over their point shoes. I don't know, but it really looked like they were dancing in their socks. Anyway, so that's updating an ancient art form for the present day. And it was great. What else did I take away from that concert? I noticed that the normal distribution curve applies in everything, it seems. The bulk of the dancers are proficient, and then there is a minority that seem to be struggling, and then there is another minority who seem to be inspired in every category because they had like little children, I mean, like toddler age children, all the way to adults. And again, I guess the normal distribution graph applies. The bulk of the participants were school age children because this is a ballet academy after all, a ballet school. And in every category of dancers, you'll find a minority who seem to be inspired. It's like there's like what Simon Cowell looks for in the X Factor. There's an X Factor with them. Is it nature or is it nurture or is it both? And does it even matter? But some people seem inspired. So that reminds me of another guy who built a successful business for himself when he started in school, helping his neighbors install the operating systems on their computers. This was back in I think it was the 90s, early 90s, when you would buy a computer and you would have to install the software yourself. And he was a teenager at that time, teenage geek. Uh, Installing stuff on computers came second nature to him. But to his elderly, or rather his adult neighbors, it was a difficult task, daunting. And so he would set up their computers for them for a fee. And he just kept on doing that. Eventually developed a successful business and bought a Lamborghini for himself, cash. Of course, it was not the latest Lamborghini, but still. Why do I mention this guy? Yes, he said everyone has a cheat mode in their life. It's a thing that you do that you feel like you're cheating because it's so easy for you to do, and you feel like, why am I even getting paid for this thing? It's like doesn't seem like work. It's like play, and people are paying me for it. So this guy says, find your cheat mode, the so-called cheat mode. It's that thing that comes second nature to you, the thing that you were born to do. Is it nature or is it nurture or is it both? I think, like Forrest Gump concluded in his movie, it's probably somewhere in between. It's probably both. But again, does it really matter whether it's nature or nurture or both? The point is, look for your cheap mode. It's that thing that you were made to do. It's why you were put here. Do that thing and everything flows well.